NFL draft nerds, welcome in. As y'all know, it's all draft all the time here at Rogue Football, but it is like legitimately now really heating up with the pre-draft process, right? The Shrine Bowl is getting kicked off this week. Obviously, Shrine Bowl isn't until Thursday, the actual game, but leading up to the game, you have all the practices, you have the interviews, you're going to have teams meeting with prospects. The big part of this for teams is information gathering. It's meeting with these prospects. Yes, you also want to see them on the practice field, how they perform in this type of situation, but you're going to rely more on the tape for the evaluation of the player. You're going to rely a lot on what you're hearing, what you're seeing, how interviews are going from the Shrine Bowl and obviously from the Senior Bowl as well, which is getting kicked off soon. So I want to talk about, though, a few players I think are going to be on the rise throughout this week and going to have some buzz on them, certainly from the Shrine Bowl. Some of these guys are probably names that a lot of draft nerds are familiar with, but maybe some of them aren't. So we're going to dive into it. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the channel, if you enjoy the NFL draft, please consider liking and subscribing. So this isn't in a particular order necessarily, but the first guy on my list, I just think Jabbar Muhammad out of Oregon, the corner, he is so sticky in coverage. And he's smaller. He's undersized. A lot of people think he has to play inside at the next level at nickel, and he might have to. He's 5'10", 180 pounds, 183 pounds. We'll see what the official weigh-ins say. Haven't seen that yet, but this is a guy who incredibly disruptive, incredibly instinctive, has quick feet, fluid hips, plays the ball well, has done it at multiple big universities, with the transfer portal, finished his career at Oregon. But I love his game. I think he's going to be a starter, whether it's inside at nickel or outside in the NFL. And he reminds me a little bit, you know, Darius Williams is an undersized guy that plays outside in the NFL. I think that you could think about that type of path for Jabbar Muhammad moving forward. So somebody I'm really fired up to see. And I think when you talk about standing out at the Shrine Bowl, one-on-ones, I don't think you're going to be able to create a lot of separation against this guy. And one-on-ones are designed for receivers to have the upper hand. I think with his fluidity, his quickness, his instincts, he's going to have a hell of a week. Number two here is Jordan Phillips, the defensive tackle out of Maryland, who, 6'6", 320 pounds, unbelievable athlete at that size. He does not move like anywhere close to a 320 pounder. With his explosiveness, his length, and there's production there too. It's not just a size profile that gets you excited. And there's a lot of development needed still. I think still a young guy, but Jordan Phillips, he has the ability to shock with his hands. Like he has violent, strong hands. He has explosiveness. I don't think he's the most flexible dude out there at defensive tackle. Like we're not talking about a Mason Graham. If we were, he'd be talking about being a first round pick. He's not there at this point. And I do want to offer kind of my draft round evaluations of these guys too. I think Jabbar Muhammad should be a day 2 pick. I think Jordan Phillips is probably on the borderline between back of round 3 to round 4 at this point. If he can have a really good pre-draft lead up, and it only takes one team to say, look, this guy has all the tools. We've seen him flash on tape where he's able to just absolutely manhandle a center or a guard and create disruption in the backfield. Got a lot of pressures this year, even though Maryland rotates heavily their defensive line. I think Jordan Phillips has a chance to really show out here again because his physical traits are off the charts. And that type of stuff can stand out in this setting. You've also got Kobe Bryant from Kansas. Shout out to Kobe. Awesome name. Not spelled the same way, but that's okay. Got to have your own spin on it. I respect it. Kobe Bryant from Kansas, the cornerback who's about 6'1", light, 170 pounds, right? 175 pounds, something like that. He's got length. He's got ball skills. He's grabby. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think he's grabby because he has to be. I think that's just his physical play style. I think you're going to have to coach that up a little bit at the NFL level. But to me, looking at this guy, I see him as a day two pick because he is quick, he is fluid, he has great technique overall. Again, clean up the hands a little bit. And I think you're in a position where, with his length and athletic ability and ball skills, he's going to be very, very disruptive at the catch point in the NFL. And even though he is thin, he brings it against the run. So that's a guy I'm fired up about watching as well. Not going to be at the Shrine Bowl covering the Jaguars situation with the head coach, which has been drama filled this week, obviously. But Liam Cohen coming down to Jacksonville, excited about that. Getting back to the Shrine Bowl, though, Ricky White, wide receiver, UNLV. This guy is so electric. He is incredibly explosive off the line, explosive in and out of breaks. I'm curious to see, like, from a testing standpoint, what is his long speed? Because he's probably in the 4.4s, but I think his I think his 10 yard time will be incredibly fast. I don't see folks keeping up with him off the line. I don't see folks keeping up with him out of breaks. And he's got length. He's over 6 feet tall, about 190 pounds, strong hands. Could he be a little bit better when it comes to the drop percentage? Yes, but it's certainly not anywhere that you don't feel comfortable. And I view Ricky White as a third round type of prospect, somebody who I think at the very least is going to be a great move Z/slot as a third option in an offense. I think his ceiling is probably a good number 2, but I think Ricky White's going to be a productive receiver in the NFL for a long time, and I just love his explosiveness off the ball. Q Robinson, Alabama edge, who I think in 110 pass rush snaps this year had 19 pressures and 3 sacks, something like that. The guy is insanely explosive. He's about 6'5", a little over 240 pounds, insanely explosive, athletic, nimble, all the athletic traits you could possibly ask for. Obviously on the smaller side from a mass standpoint at edge, but as a potential rotational pass rusher with unbelievable traits and production in limited snaps this year. Also someone who has the physicality, the strength, I think, to, as like a 3-4 outside linebacker, also play the run. You haven't seen a lot. You want to see more, and you want to see that athleticism really pop out here. But I think that he has a chance to be a really good third edge in the NFL, if not more, right? Alabama is just always loaded with talent on the edge. It's hard to really break out unless you're one of the top guys. And, LT Overton going back to school there, they've just got a pipeline. Last two guys I was going to talk about here is Jaden Blue, Texas running back, 6 foot, about 200 pounds. I think that his fluidity, explosiveness, quickness is going to really display well in a situation like this. Whether it's, trying to show off his hands, which drop rate a little bit high, but still a very effective pass game weapon, somebody who can really route you up with his quickness and fluidity. Again, as a runner, receiver, I think Jaden Blue will stand out here. And then I also think Phil Mafah has a chance to stand out. He's a big boy, but he's got some explosiveness and nimbleness to him. He's the Clemson running back, obviously, for those who don't know. I think that looking at him, probably a day 3. I mean, this running back class is loaded. So these guys are probably both definitely day 3 or maybe even undrafted free agents. But I think they're both guys that will stand out because Phil Mafah, with, looking up his actual, because he's huge. He's a huge, powerful runner out of Clemson, but, 230 pounds at 6'1". He's got explosiveness to him. So that's an exciting blend of traits with his size profile, power profile, but also having a good amount of explosiveness that I think will show well in this kind of situation. There's going to be a lot of guys showing out, but these are just a few of the ones that I think are going to be buzzy names throughout the week and coming out of the Shrine Bowl practices. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.